Welcome. This is Bridge Maps with Steve. This is where I share how I organize and what I'm learning about bridge. Today's topic is the negative double, many consider to be the most important bid in bridge. We'll focus on the basics, essentially when to use it, so you have a foundation for all the variations. Once you understand the core ideas, you can think your way through the rest. Essentially, the negative double is when your partner opens and the opponent overcalls. You double, which is showing support for the two unbid suits. Typically, you're ideally showing support for the unbid major. So the main purpose of a negative double is to show shape and to help find a major fit. It's relevant because it finds a major fit you might otherwise miss. It gives you a clear and specific way to show a competitive hand and the unbid majors in order to find a fit in that major, which is often the best contract. The core idea is when you don't have a clean, natural bid, but have values and interest in the unbid suits, particularly the majors, you use the negative double. So who makes the negative double bid? It is made by the responder. What it is, it's a double showing values and unbid suits. When do you make the bid? You make it early in the auction after the partner opens, and as I said, but specifically after the right-hand opponent overcalls. Where? You do this on your first response in a competitive auction, and why you do it to find a major fit you might otherwise miss. All of this comes back to one thing: knowing when to use it. The key point of a negative double is it's very descriptive. It provides your partner a lot of information and a lot of specific information. I'll show it on my map to help give you a better understanding. This is my map for the negative double. The negative double is made by the responder after the partner is overcalled. It is forcing one round unless the right-hand opponent re-interferes. It is alerted. The core idea of the negative double is that it typically shows 4 cards in the unbid majors. It promises it when the two unbid suits are both majors. It usually shows 4 cards in both of the unbid suits. However, it is okay to lie a little if it's only that there are 3 cards in a minor. You do this in order to find a major fit. However, you need to have a good out plan if you make this little lie. That out plan could be rebidding the partners open or bidding no trump. The framework of the negative double is that its purpose is to find a major fit at a low level. It's used when a natural bid would require 5+ cards. With only 4 cards in the unbid major, you'd use the negative double. It keeps the auction low. If you had 5 cards in the unbid major, you would just bid the suit naturally. It does have some requirements for minimum strength levels: 6+ at the 1 level, 8+ at the 2 level, and 10+ at the 3 level. It is of note that it is partnership sensitive. Generally, you and your partner would agree to what level you would continue to play or use the negative double. There is an exception. It may be used when you hold a 5-card major, when you're too weak to bid it at the 2 level. Also, you should have, or you need to have, a plan before you use the negative double, before you make the bid. If your partner doesn't choose your suit, you have to know what your options are and be prepared to bid those. It could be rebidding your own long suit, it could be supporting the partner's suit, or bidding no trump with a stopper. The opener rebid after a negative double could be, with support for the partner's implied major, they could bid their major at the next possible level. This would be done with a minimum hand or a bad 15, 12 to 14 or a bad 15. You could jump raise, being invitational, with a medium hand, or you would bid game with a maximum hand. It would not be a reverse if you bid spades after using or after bidding hearts, because you would be raising the partner's suit. Without support for partner's major, you'd rebid your suit to show extra length, typically 5+ or 6, or you'd bid no trump, again with a stopper in the opponent's suit. However, key is you do not pass if your opponent passes after the negative double is used. This would convert your partner's negative double into a penalty double, which is generally not the best outcome and certainly not your intent. The distribution breakdown of the negative double is basically threefold: holding both unbid majors, holding one unbid major, or holding both unbid minors. For holding both unbid majors, at the 1 level, the negative double promises 4 cards in both the majors, promises 4 spades and promises 4 hearts. However, at the 2 level, it promises 1 4-card major. Usually it's both majors too, but when at the 2 level, it promises 1 4-card major. If you're holding 1 unbid major, such as there's a minor opening, as here shown, a club, and then an opponent overcalls in a major, the negative double by the responder promises 4 cards in the spades, the unbid suit. Because if you had 5, you would have bid the spades naturally. It also indicates that you have something else to bid, such as support for another unbid suit, often the minor, ideally that support being 4+ cards. The other option, or the other breakdown, is holding both unbid minors. This isn't typical or used that often with a negative double. However, it is something that is possible. So with a major open and a major overcall, a negative double promises at least 1 4-card minor, often both, ideally 4-4 in the 2 minors, but could possibly be 5-3. Inference is a part of the negative double. It implies that you have no available raise of the partner's opening suit. By not using it when you could, you're telling your partner valuable information. For example, using the negative double, you can't bid 2 hearts to show 5 or 6 cards in hearts with less than 10 points, but you can double. That would show at least 4 cards in hearts. If your partner doesn't support your hearts, meaning they have fewer than 4, you could show your extra length in the major suit by rebidding 2 hearts. This would imply that you have less than 10 points, because if you had more than 10 points, you would have bid 2 hearts to begin with. Not using the negative double, such as a minor opening and a major overcall, if your responder bids a spade, that shows 5+ spades, because if you only had 4, you would have used the negative double. The negative double is a very common bid, and as I stated earlier, it's often considered the most important bid in bridge. It's a tool you need to understand so that you can know when to use it and also how to respond to it when your partner bids it. That's the negative double. This is an example of where the negative double could apply in a hand that I actually played. So here we have in the upper right the laydown of the hand and how the bidding went. I was south, so it started with east as the dealer passing. Then myself, I opened 1 club. Given that I had 4 clubs, 4 spades, 3 diamonds, and 2 hearts, I couldn't open in a major, and I also had 19 points. So I assessed this hand that I could open in a minor and then rebid 2 no trump to show 18 or 19, the classic Goldilocks hand. So I bid 1 club. West then overcalled 1 diamond, with their overcall showing 5+ diamonds and 7 to 17 points. Now, North actually had 4 spades and 4 hearts, the 2 unbid majors. So with 2 unbid majors and 6+ points, they had the opportunity to bid the negative double, which is what they did. East then passed again, and then on my rebid, I reacted. I quickly bid 2 no trump, not really taking a moment to pause and think about what my partner was showing me. That 2 no trump bid was really the wrong bid. It showed I was showing that I didn't have a major fit when indeed I did. I had 4 spades. So I should have bid 4 spades, which would have been a golden fit, and at game level, knowing that we had 25 points at least, given that I knew my 19 points and my partner was showing me 6+. So again, I rebid 2 no trump. West then passed. North, my partner, passed again, assuming there was no major fit, and then East passed, so I was left to play in 2 no trump. It turned out okay. We played in 2 no trump myself. We actually made 8. We made the contract and got a 50%. So 50% was okay, but the hand that actually bid to 4 spades and made 4 spades got a 90%. So I missed the opportunity by not taking a moment to pause and think, applying the rule of thinking and not reacting too quickly, which is what I did. So the lesson learned here is don't miss the negative double. Don't miss the opportunity to bid it, and don't miss the opportunity when your partner also bids it. The key points to the negative double are to recognize when to use it. Also, to understand when your partner makes the bid so you don't misinterpret it. This is another situation where the rule of thinking can apply. Pause. Don't react. Assess. What's been shown? Adjust. What are your options? What can you show? What did your partner show you? Act. Bid with a negative double when the opportunity presents itself, and respond correctly to the negative double when your partner makes the bid. You may find a major fit you otherwise might have missed. That's the negative double, made simple. Thank you for joining me. I hope this was helpful, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.